Welcome YouTube channel.
What is classical political theory? Explain. OR. What is modern political theory? Explain. Answers. Political theory has, in the West, passed through different stages. There was a time when, during the ancient Greek and the medieval period, political theory would concern itself with identifying the ethical goals of the state, i.e., the objectives which the state would cherish to achieve. Both Plato and Aristotle would insist on the functions of the state to establish justice or give the individual a good life. The medieval political theory associated as it was with religion demanded of the state to prepare and train the individual to seek a place with God. The early modern age political theory sought to discuss theories of the origin of the state, followed by philosophers with whom the organization and functions of the state were major concerns of the state. The mid-20th century political theory dealt largely with the institutions of the state, making the concept of power to be the basic theme of the state. The growth and evolution of political theory can be elaborated in three major streams. These are I. Classical political theory. E. Modern political theory. E. Contemporary political theory. The classification of political theory into classical, modern and contemporary is, indeed, thematic. What divides the classical or the traditional from the modern is the element of science in the latter and its absence in the former. Philosophy dominates the classical tradition of political theory, whereas science and its methodology dominate the modernist. Modern political theory and contemporary political theory are somewhat different, at least in their essence. Modern political theory is empirical and scientific, whereas contemporary political theory philosophical and historical. Classical political theory. Classical political theory emerged in the ancient Greek culture, in the writings of Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, and continued until the beginning of the 19th century. The classical paradigm, according to Sheldon Wolin, relating to political theory, consisted of the following. A classical political theory aimed at acquiring reliable knowledge about matters concerning the people, a philosophical pursuit to establish a rational basis for belief, a politically inspired pursuit to establish a rational basis for action. B. Its basic unit of analysis was always the political whole, the body politic, the interrelated structure denoting activity, relationship and belief, activity relating to ruling, warfare, education, religious practices, relationships involving those between social classes, between the rulers and the ruled, between the superiors and the inferiors, belief, such as justice, equality, natural law, and the like. C. Classical political theory laid stress on comparative studies for supplying a more comprehensive explanation of political phenomena and a wider range of alternatives. That was the reason that classical political theory developed a classification of political forms, e.g., monarchy, aristocracy, democracy, and their variants, and a set of concepts such as law, citizenship, justice, and participation so as to explain differences in similarities between them. D. Classical political theory had been, largely, ethical in perspective. Its response was rooted in a moral outlook. Plato advocated the ideal state. Aristotle, a state that can achieve the best possible street. Augustine, the city of God. E. Modern political theory. Modern political theory encompasses in itself a host of diverse trends such as the institutional, structural, scientific, positivistic, empirical, behavioral, post-behavioral, and the Marxist, beginning with the liberal stance from the 15th, 16th centuries and later expressing itself in the institutional positivist, empirical, behavioral, and post-behavioral trends, dubbed the whole classical tradition as duly. Their advocates, from Miriam and Key to Dahl, Caswell, and Easton, sought to lay stress on the present, rather than on the past. The living, rather than the dull. The immediate, rather than the remote. The objective, rather than the subjective. The analytic, rather than the philosophic. The explanatory, rather than the descriptive. The process-oriented, rather than the purpose-oriented. The scientific rather than the theoretical. Modern political theory, with its Western liberal democratic shade, attempted to build a science of politics. Objective, empirical, observational, measurable, operational, and value-free. Its features can be summed up as under. Facts and data constitute the basis of study. These are accumulated, explained, and then used for testing hypothesis. B. Human behavior can be studied, and regularities of human behavior can be expressed in generalizations. C. Facts and values are separated. Values are so arranged that the facts become relevant. D. Methodology has to be self-conscious, explicit, and quantitative. E. Interdisciplinary synthesis is to be achieved. T. What it is regarded as more important than either what it was, or what it ought to be or could be. E. Contemporary political theory. The characteristic features of contemporary political theory, David held, refers to the following. A contemporary political theory has been viewed as the history of political thought, involving an attempt to examine the significance of text in their historical context. B. It has sought to revitalize the discipline as a form of conceptual analysis, and in the process, finding political theory as systematic reflection upon, and classification of, the meanings of the key forms and concepts such as sovereignty, democracy, justice, and the like. C. It has been developed as the systematic elaboration of the knows underlying structure of our moral and political activities. The disclosure, examination, and reconstruction of the foundations of political value. D. It has been revitalized as a form of argument concerned with abstract theoretical questions in particular political issues. E. It has been championed as a critique of all forms of foundationalism, either the postmodernists or the liberal defenders. It, accordingly, presents itself as a stimulant to dialogue and to conversation among human beings. F. It has developed as the theoretical Anton Rico Imlin